In this video, we'll look at question 7 from the second paper of the 2017 exam. So in this question, we have a graph of function y equals a to x, and then also an unknown function f of x. And here we have a couple of statements about what f of x could be, and we are supposed to decide which of them might potentially be true. Okay, so let's first have a closer look on the first two statements, which are basically that we are raising a number to the same power, but the number is, there's a different number, right? Either bigger or smaller than the original one. So say if a equals 2 and we have y equals 2 to x, what happens relative to this first graph when we have 3 to x or 1.5 to the x power? Well, for positive numbers, for positive powers, that means for positive x, the bigger number we take the exponent of, the bigger result we're going to get. So 3 to the x is bigger than 2 to the x for x greater than 0. For example, 3 squared is bigger than 2 squared. So if b is bigger than a, we get a steeper curve which is going above the original one, and the opposite will happen for smaller numbers. For negative powers, however, that's like having 1 over the positive power. So the situation changes completely. It's more like 1/9 and 1/4 that we are comparing, and the inequality will flip. The bigger numbers we exponentiate to a negative power, the smaller numbers we get. So this red curve will continue below the blue curve. There won't be the cusp which I drew here, but that's just an artistic impression of the curve. And quite the opposite for when b is smaller than a. Okay, so from here it looks like 1 could definitely be our curve, and 2 definitely is not our curve. For the last two statements, we should investigate what happens when we increase the power to which we are raising the number, but the number stays the same. Here, if k is greater than 1, we get a bigger power, and anything to a bigger power is just a bigger number, as we can see on this example where 8 is smaller than 16. At least that is the case for x greater than 0. Because much like before, when we have negative powers, then 2 to a smaller negative power, well, is in fact a bigger number, 1/8, than 1/16. So we increase for bigger, x is then 0, and it decreases for x is smaller than 0. And again, if k is less than 1, the opposite happens, and we get a similar curve to as before. That's for k is smaller than 1 and k is greater than 1. And once again, we see that 1 is correct. Number 3 is, one of them, which is number 3, is correct, and number 4 is incorrect. And options 1 and 3 being correct was answer E in the exam, which was the correct one to pick.